Hi P's and G's. We just wanted to recognise that over the last 2 weeks we've all been very shaken by the events that took place in America with the tragic death of George Floyd. And just want to say very clearly, as a church and as a leadership, that we stand against racism. We're for social justice. We believe it's part of the gospel, it's part of God's good news for humanity. And just wanted to point you towards a number of resources that might help you in your thinking and listening. I'm very conscious as a white UK church leader that on one level, who am I to speak about this? I've experienced watching racism when I lived in Birmingham and when I lived in Manchester, but personally I've never experienced it firsthand. But some people who've written and spoken about it that might be helpful. Two books, one by a British church theologian, Ben Lindsay, called Why We Need to Talk About Race. It's a book about racism in the church in the United Kingdom. And then a second book called Just Mercy by a guy called Bryan Stevenson. Bryan is a human rights lawyer who works with prisoners on death row. That's his sort of speciality. And a film has been made about his life. It's free at the moment for the month of June on certain platforms in the US. Hopefully it will become free, but Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson, I would really recommend that as a resource alongside Why We Need to Talk About Race by Ben Lindsay. We'll also be pointing you in the direction of 3 talks that you can find online. One by a church leader called Tope Koliesu, who leads Jubilee Church in London with his response to the death of George Floyd. And then another by Pastor Agu, who leads Jesus House and the Redeemed Church of God. Again, 2 black British church leaders who recorded their response to the events in America last week. And then a final one is again Bryan Stevenson in conversation with Tim Keller, and it's called Grace, Mercy and Justice, an evening with Bryan Stevenson and Tim Keller. Bryan Stevenson gave perhaps the best talk I have ever heard at the leadership conference 2 years ago at the Albert Hall in London. It was brilliant. It was biblical, it was passionate, it was experiential, and it was convicting. And at the end of it, Bryan Stevenson got a 5-minute standing ovation in the Royal Albert Hall, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house. So I'd really commend those resources to you as we raise our voice alongside many other voices around the world, saying that we're against racism and we believe that Jesus loves everybody, irrespective of race, irrespective of gender, irrespective of class, status, background, etc. We believe that God is for people, and as P's and G's, we want to be for people as well.